let's move to Nuggets Clippers. We might finally disagree here on a series. I don't know what your opinions are, but obviously the Nuggets went through a crazy whirlwind of firings in the last week of the season, but they're in the playoffs. They have home court, and the Clippers, they're playing well at the right time, but most importantly, they're healthy. What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are these 4 or 5 series are gonna be really, really good this year between the one that we just talked about and this one. I mean, just really great series, and I think that this one is probably the hardest to predict just because of the fact that the Nuggets lose their head coach, and then the Clippers have kind of been up and down all season, more so up towards the end of the season than down. But I think that I personally have the Clippers winning in 6. Back at home at whatever they want to call their home stadium now, and I just think that this Clippers team has a lot of pieces that a lot of people aren't accounting for. James Harden played 79, basically 80 games this season, which is like almost unheard of for James Harden just in general. But like for him to kind of be the propeller of this team and keeping them afloat for the majority of the season was awesome to see. He averaged 23 and 9 this season, which was great. And then Norman Powell, they have possibly 2 most improved players on their team in Norman Powell and Zubac. Norman Powell was a borderline all-star this season. It was like there was a debate for a little bit between him and Jalen Williams. Maybe it wasn't a real debate, but Norman Powell is averaging 22 and 4 or 5 this season. He's been a true offensive threat for them, and has just stepped up and been had the best season of his career. And towards the later stages of his career, he's just consistently been a really, really great player for them. So I really like the way Norman Powell's playing. And then you hit on it during our talk about the most improved player, but Ivica Zubac has been amazing this season. He's averaged 17 and 13 this season. He's been he has the, I don't know if you knew this, but I don't know if that was part of your case in making the most improved debate, but he has the 3rd best defensive rating in all of the NBA this year. He's been great on defense. He's been one of their offensive threats, and it obviously is good on the boards, averaging 13 rebounds a game. And I've said all these names, and I haven't even with only 3 of them, but I haven't gotten to Kawhi yet. Kawhi's been relatively healthy towards the end of the season, has missed some back-to-backs, but has been playing games since he got back. He's played 37 games since he's gotten back, and has been decent. He hasn't been the best version of Kawhi, but Kawhi consistently gets better in the playoffs, is one of the best defenders in all of the NBA, averaged over 20 points a game in the games that he was back for. So and that was kind of in easing him back. He's still averaging over 20 points a game. So I just really like this Clippers team, and I like the way they ended the regular season. They ended the regular season really hot, and for all the Nuggets had to go through at the end of the season, losing their head coach and kind of just fending off their way to a 4th seed. I think that this is a good matchup for the Clippers, and I think that they can take it in Game 6 at home.
I think I'm impressed with the Clippers and what they were able to do at the very end of the year. I truly am, and no disrespect to them. And what's going on with the Nuggets has actually concerned me. I think this could be one of those years where you look back on Jokic's career and you say this is potentially where things went awry, whenever the Nuggets just couldn't get everything together with their front office and their coach. But the reason I'm going with the Nuggets is because it has more so to do with just my confidence in the Clippers. I get it. Norman Powell and James Harden have carried this team all season long, along with Zubac. And it feels like the supporting cast for the Clippers completely different. I almost felt like at the very beginning of this year, it was a wash. So they are different. But I am very concerned that the longer this series goes, the worse the Clippers' chances are. If they can jump out and get a couple games on the road to start this series, then I think they have a shot. Then I think they can kind of withstand any sort of injury that could come. I hate to even say this or to have this be my argument, but Kawhi has just shown, even in the first round, that he almost isn't durable enough to make it through that. I could see a Game 4 matchup, Nuggets down 2-1 on the road. This is a really tough battle. Kawhi maybe drops 39 points, and the Nuggets just squeeze out a win. And it's okay, it's 2-2 now. We're going to go back to Los Angeles and we're take control of this series by by winning Game 5. And then reports come out that Kawhi Leonard tore his ACL or something like that. After the game, truthfully.
Yeah.
I just don't have enough, and that's how it goes. He will finish these games, and then he'll have a season-ending injury. So I don't know how much I trust this Clippers team, but I got to be honest with the Nuggets. I don't really trust them either. I don't know how much I trust them, just in general. But I'm gonna go with Jokic, and just hope that Jamal Murray continues his success against the Clippers. I think he's shooting 53% against them on the for his career, actually, I think, against the Clippers. And I know that the Clippers can throw Chris Dunn and Derek Jones Jr. even like on him. It's just I don't know, and maybe Michael Porter Jr. can show up. Russell Westbrook is definitely the wild card. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but if he can provide a game off the bench where he just kind of goes off, I think that could potentially offset whatever the Clippers have in their supporting cast to give the Nuggets a game. Christian Braun, I'm very interested to see how the young guys end up playing too for the Nuggets. I'm going to go Nuggets and 7. I think the further on this series goes, the more it leans on how old the Clippers are, and I think the Denver Nuggets will be able to pull it out. But this is one that I'm going back and forth, because if you had asked me this last week, I would have said Nuggets for sure, right? Like I would have said definitely the Nuggets, even after they had fired their coach, just because I didn't trust the way that the Clippers had been in previous playoff stints. But they ended this season really strong. So I think this would be a close one. Pretty much a 50-50 game for me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your like assessment of like how the series could go. I think that you could have maybe like said like he broke his hand or something and not like tore his ACL. I understand the point that you were trying to make there. Kawhi has consistently proven that he's not that durable, and the only thing is like, I mean, playoff James Harden is a thing in a bad way, but we've also seen some really great series out of him where like the block against Lou Dort in the playoff bubble where they got out of the first round series doing that. And it, like in the beginning of the the postseason, I feel like James Harden is like actually steps up his game rather than the opposite, even despite the narrative. And if I think James Harden alone can win them some games, especially because I feel like he's still that offensive threat he can be. He's just like he's more so facilitating and finding people and not having to do as much on offense this season. But if he needs to, and if Kawhi tears his ACL in game 4, then I think he can be that offensive scoring threat. And I think that the Clippers at the very worst can like push the Nuggets to 6. And I have the Clippers winning in 6. So I mean, I hope I mean, we'll see what happens, but definitely. And again, these 4-5 series, like both of them could go either way. Like these are really great series, and I can't wait to see how they turn out, because I don't think any of the series that we previewed like are gonna go less than 6, or like at least a tough 5.
I would love to see the stat on like what was the closest, if you will, like first round of the NBA playoffs, just in general. Like how many of these games will, or how many of these series will go 6 or 7 games. I almost feel like we're due for one of these series to go 5, just
Yeah.
because of like some sort of like statistical anomaly that maybe like it has always been around. I would love to see that, because I know we're picking 6 and 7 series.
I
I
think
think
we
you
get
had
a
Lakers
little
in 5, but still.
I think we also get a little bit of support from like the 1-8 matchups. Like I don't think any
Yeah.
of those are going to go more than 5. So I think that where we defer on like maybe the statistics of taking so many 6 and 7 games, like for the 4-5, 3-6 matchups, I think that the 1-8s will be pretty concrete.
All right, last thing on the Clippers Nuggets here, before we move into KD going to the Rockets potentially. I've been a supporter of the Clippers for a while now with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Like that was my thing. I was like, if they are healthy, they are going to be that team. But it was always injuries, and I hate to just pick this series based off of thinking that there's going to be an injury, but just the past, I just have to see it. I just would have to see it from Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. But they're a wild card. If this team stays healthy, they're a very, very talented team. And they could give either Oklahoma City or potentially the Lakers, if those are the teams that are moving on, a darn good series, depending on how far they end up getting, right? Conference finals for the Thunder, and then for the Lakers in the semifinals. So we'll just have to wait and
The
see.
new stadium. It's the new stadium. There's
It's
a
the Intuit Dome, right?
the Inuit Dome, bro. They're apparently there's like a wall thing that they do, and like the opponents are shooting like 70% or 77% free throw percentage into it, and it's like the second worst in the league. So I mean the wall could play a factor too.